What's up guys, it's Zero here. Today we're talking about Watch Dogs and the future of this franchise. Let's get into it. So guys, Watch Dogs is a franchise that has spanned now over the course of time, with obviously the latest entry being Watch Dogs Legion. And although there were aspects and elements of Watch Dogs Legion that I really enjoyed, I think it's safe to say that it didn't resonate really well with a lot of people within the community. So it really begs to question what is next now for Watch Dogs. Is this game going to be in a state of no return, a limbo state? It's going to be really interesting to see what happens, but let's talk about it, guys. In an article coming to us from Harry Alexander of CBR, Watch Dogs isn't necessarily one of Ubisoft's flagship IPs when compared to heavyweights like Assassin's Creed or even Far Cry, but the success and influence of the series shouldn't be underestimated. In a comparatively short period of time, and with only 3 mainline releases, Watch Dogs has generated significant sales revenue for the publisher, with the first 2 games in the series both topping 10 million units sold worldwide. The future of the franchise, however, seems a little uncertain at the moment, following the news that the 3rd release in the series, Watch Dogs Legion, would no longer receive updates beyond Season 5's Stripes. There is speculation that Ubisoft might be losing faith in their open world hacking simulator. So when I see, guys, that they sold 10 million units worldwide between their first 2 games, that's a pretty big number when you really think about it. And yes, it's not one of their big heavyweights like Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six. There's a number of games out there that are, that Ubisoft has that are certainly bigger than Watch Dogs, but those numbers, those are some pretty big numbers to say the least. And obviously with the current state of Ubisoft, you would think that they would really be pushing more and more for games like this to be selling, millions upon millions of units, because, they really need it at this point. They're really struggling as a company. Now, you may say on the flip side, well, they don't want to go with anything outside of their flagship IPs right now, because if they made another Watch Dogs game and it was like a commercial flop, it could really take Ubisoft into potentially the brink of bankruptcy. So it's kind of a two-edged sword from that perspective. But what is most striking about the news of Legion's discontinued online support is how quickly it came. Legion only launched in late 2020, meaning that it didn't even make it to a year and a half worth of updates before Ubisoft pulled the plug to focus its efforts on more successful properties. Perhaps players shouldn't be overly surprised though. Legion was plagued by bugs and issues from the beginning, not to mention the lukewarm commercial and critical reception that marked it out as the lowest rated game in the trilogy. While Legion promised to build on the success of its predecessor, most felt that the game was little more than a missed opportunity. Ubisoft thrives on maintaining large, recognizable IPs for as long as they remain profitable. With no other games on the market or in the pipeline, there seems to be no room for Legion in the French behemoth's future plans. The question now is what the future holds for what is still one of Ubisoft's relatively underused AAA properties. And yes, guys, I would say that they're definitely, Ubisoft, there's probably a lot of things that they are looking at over there internally to figure out, okay, what is going to be the best move forward for the company? Is it going to be more Assassin's Creed titles? Obviously, we have Assassin's Creed Shadows. We've got Rainbow Six Siege X. We have a number of games that are going to be coming out from Ubisoft, but Watch Dogs may very well be put on the back burner because of Watch Dogs Legion, for them to focus on those, those big IPs that they have. And I would say this is a great opportunity for them to also, bring in other IPs that, they haven't touched in a while, like Splinter Cell, a Splinter Cell remake and things of that nature I think are really good. Watch Dogs may just need to be put on the back burner for a period of time before they bring it back into the fray. So we'll see what happens there. But there are still so many opportunities that could evolve and expand the universe. Live service propositions aside, one feels that the purely narrative and mechanical elements of Watch Dogs still have a great deal of potential for a series struggling to find its feet. The series has already taken players to Chicago, San Francisco, and a futuristic dystopian London, so there would be little tying things to one particular location if the devs sought to expand the Watch Dogs playground. As DedSec essentially operates as a global online network of hackers sharing information across national borders, there's nothing limiting future games from going pretty much anywhere, both geographically and temporally. Added to this, the potential for a host of new characters, a deficiency that many felt undermined Legion, as well as the infinite possibilities of hackable worlds and cutting-edge tech, and it seems that there should be plenty of places for Legion to go in the future. I agree. I think that there's so much more to explore here with this franchise. That might just be me personally. I just think that there's so much more that, Ubisoft could do with the Watch Dogs IP moving forward. I think that they've only just begun to crack the code of what the possibilities could be with this franchise. Like they were saying in the article, we've been to a few locations so far. There's so many other locations that they could go to, so many different time periods that they could go to as well, like, far into the future, like a cyberpunk-esque type of world. It could be really interesting, and I would love to see them continue to explore this world from, the story, the lore, all of it. I think that there's a lot of potential there. Then there is the issue of changing the face of the industry. The rise of the live service model is hard to ignore, especially for large AAA franchises. Tying multiple gameplay and narrative strands together into one continually evolving hub makes a degree of sense for a franchise known for jumping around a variety of historical settings. Whether Ubisoft could or would want to make such a model work for Watch Dogs may depend on the success or failure of Assassin's Creed. Watch Dogs always has been a hard series to judge. The first title forged a path for the new console generation, but its colossal hype only served to leave many fans disappointed with the end result. Nevertheless, its massive sales, combined with the surprising success of Watch Dogs 2, resulted in a franchise seen as highly profitable and one that likely remained so even after Legion. With Ubisoft looking to focus on other properties and experiment with new formats and media through which to present them, it may be a while before we see a new Watch Dogs release. Whatever the case, fans of the series will hope that any potential forthcoming break isn't a terminal one. And I agree. I think there's a really good chance that Watch Dogs is going to be on the back burner for a period of time. It could be in a limbo state, potentially a state of no return at this point, just because, Ubisoft as a company, where they are, they're in a lot of trouble, and they're in dire, a dire state at this point in time. And so for them to really start focusing resource and development on another Watch Dogs title, at this point doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. It seems like they want to really focus on those big flagship IPs, whether we're talking Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, Far Cry, maybe Splinter Cell. There's a number of games, lots of IPs that they have in their sandbox of games that they can work on. I'm just hoping that they don't completely leave this one behind. I hope that they bring this back to the forefront at some point in the future. Maybe they bring some of the characters from Watch Dogs into some of their other IPs, whether it be Rainbow Six or into Splinter Cell or some of their multiplayer IPs and things of that nature. It'll be really interesting to say the least, guys, and I would love to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. What do you guys think is going on here with Watch Dogs? Do you think that they're going to bring out a new Watch Dogs at some time in the future, or do you think that this game is pretty much dead in the water? Let me know what you guys think, and let's have a real conversation about it. And for more Watch Dogs content and videos, keep it right here.